What's up, guys? Just here by my channel tonight. Reading a review from Monday Night Raw that just finished a little few minutes ago and stuff. So let's get to it with the segment. All right, I have a Cody Rhodes segment coming up. Cody Rhodes makes his way out, and this, by the way, this is a long reading, so as you guys know. All right, anyway, so Cody Rhodes makes his way out. Wonders what we want to talk about. He says we can talk about the Crown Jewel Championship ring and how he would like. He would love to have another one, and Seth Rollins' music hits, cutting off Rhodes. Rollins makes his way out with Braun Breaker, Bronson Reed, and Paul Heyman. Rollins gets in the ring while his thugs wait outside the ring. Rollins says from the moment both he and Rhodes left SummerSlam, he had the Crown Jewel date circle in his calendar. It's going to be champion versus champions at Crown Jewel and made the best man win. He says it would be that simple, but isn't. It isn't it because what they have is deeper and bigger than that. Ron says he's good at reading people, and he knows what the WWE Universe thinks about him, and he knows what the locker room thinks about him, and he doesn't give a damn. He says no one knows what's good for them. He then good for them, and the people who cheer him, whatever, shouldn't be given the right to make decisions. The crowd chants CM Punk. Rollins calls him a moron, and then asks Rhodes what he thinks of Rollins. Rollins wants the truth, so Rhodes says he'll give him the truth. He says it's complicated, and it shouldn't be. He says Rollins has made some questionable choices, like aligning with Paul Heyman, but what does Rhodes think of him? Rhodes says Rollins changed his life. He says Rollins changed his career, and that's why it's complicated. Rhodes wants to know what Rollins thinks about Rollins. Rhodes says Seth Rollins with unlimited potential is hiding behind his goons now. Rhodes asks Rollins what he can do for Rollins right now. Rollins shows off a watch that Rhodes gave Rollins at WrestleMania 40. Rollins says he hasn't worn the watch since then till tonight. Rollins is unsure if the watch was given as a token gesture or if it was real. Heartfelt gift. Rollins says Rhodes undermines Rollins all the time and asks shots at Rollins by saying that Rhodes himself is the only person to lead this company. Rollins says that Rhodes either thinks Rollins isn't good enough or that he's just as good as Rhodes. Rollins says that the vision isn't made up of goons, but individuals wanting to push this company ahead. Rollins tells Rhodes that he can be the quarterback, but he'll be Rollins' quarterback. Rollins says he's an alpha, and this isn't a two-man show. Rollins says he has two questions in the three matches they have. It's been one-on-one. Will that be the case at Crown Jewel? And question 2 and 3 matches they've had. How many has Rollins won? Damn. Rhodes gives Rollins his mic and leaves the ring. Breaker and Reed stand in his way, and Rollins singles them to let Rhodes through. Rhodes makes his way past the Vision, but on high alert. All right, that was kind of a long reading right there. So yeah, if I could scroll this stupid thing down. All right, then we have a backstage thing with Jimmy Uso walks backstage. Jay Uso talk about what happened at I say WrestlePalooza and stuff, and about they lost the match. Then Jay has a match with LA Knight, tells him that and stuff, get this stuff together. So, anyways, he said they'll take care of it after he cares LA Knight and stuff. So, anyways, first match coming up, a New Day, Kofi Kingston, Xavier Woods, Grayson Waller versus the Water Raiders, Eric and Ivar and Penta. All 6 men go at it. The bell. By the way, this was a good match. The War Raiders and Penta clean house, and they all go to suicide dive onto their opponents, but get tripped and trapped out of the ring. Ivar and Woods fight in the ring. Woods gets squashed in the corner, and Kingston runs in and kicks down Ivar. Eric comes in and neutralizes Kingston. Waller runs in and hits Eric with a kendo stick, and Penta gets revenge by taking out Waller with the stick. The action spills outside the ring, and Ivar takes out his opponents, and Ivar takes out Waller and Penta. Suicide dives onto Woods and Kingston. Woods and Kingston, and then we go commercial break. We're back. Penta is getting triple team. Table has been set up in the ring in the corner. Waller is tossed out of the ring, and Kingston is taken down with his head scissors, and Woods is knocked out of the ring. Woods trips up and sets Penta on a table outside the ring. Kingston's leg drops off the top rope to the outside on Penta. Waller tries to cover Penta, and the War Raiders break the pin. The New Day run in and save Waller from beating Eric. Eric headbutts Waller and chokeslams the New off the ropes onto the mat, and Ivar goes for a missile moonsault and misses. Woods and Kingston beat on Ivar on the apron, and Waller goes for Hurricane, but Ivar powerbombs Waller on the apron. Eric hits a boss man slam on Woods and on the apron, and Kingston takes out Warwick from the barricades. From the barricades back in the ring. Penta throws Kingston into the table. Waller hits Penta with a candlestick, and he and Penta punch each other on the top rope. Penta hits an avalanche Mexican destroyer on Waller and gets the win. So winners are the Warriors and Penta. Alright, Judgment Day backstage. How about Dom Mysterio runs in and asks Finn Balor for some help with Rusev. Then he said, "No, to worry." And then he bashes, "I'm busy," and stuff. Then talk about El Grande Americano and stuff. And then Dominic asks JD Madonna, says he's busy too. And then Roxanne Perez tells that Dom Mysterio needs help. Then Madonna agrees and stuff. And then talk to Adam Pearce about it. So yeah, and then after that we see live Valkyria backstage with Bayley. He talks about what happened last week and all that stuff. After that we get a commercial break, and then we see Valkyria is up next and stuff with the segment. Alright, Anna Pierce is in the ring when we get back for commercial break. Pierce introduces the new Women's World Champion, Sandy Valkyria. Pierce congratulates Valkyria. Valkyria thanks him and says this has been her life dream and it felt impossible. She says she worked for it and sacrificed so much for it, and she made it. She talks about beating Io Sky and on Saturday, and then thanks her dad, she calls her hero Papa. Her dad. Valkyria waves to the crowd. Valkyria says the championship parade presents the motivation and supports the fans have given her. She thanks her fans and says her fire will keep making history and nobody can stop her. Pierce tells her that on Friday we'll find out if she faces Nia Jax, Jay Cargill, or Timmy Stratton at Crown Jewel. Valkyria says Valkyria says she'll be ready and she'll be there, and then we get Pyro for Valkyria. Then after Snake Valkyria backstage, then Ripley comes in. Congratulations. Then Asuka and Kairi Sane come by and has Valkyria face. Ripley, it says she's sick of Tyra attitude and stuff. Then Asuka leaves, apologizes and stuff. Then she says tonight, and so they'll later on they'll have a match tonight. Then second match come out, Bayley with Valkyria versus Roxanne Perez with Raquel Rodriguez. We get the bell. Perez and Bayley circle each other. Circle each other and lock up. Bayley gets Perez down on the mat, and Perez sends Bayley into the corner. Bayley slams down Perez, and Perez comes back pushing Bayley in the corner. Bayley punches Perez, and Perez tries rolling her. Bayley knocks down Perez and hits a forearm and clothesline and covers Perez for a near fall. Perez rolls to the apron and kicks Bayley. She runs around the ring and Bayley follows her. Perez drives Bayley into the barricades and then tosses her back in the ring. Bayley hits a belly back suplex on Perez, then covers her in the corner. Perez kicks down Bayley and climbs the ropes. Bayley climbs up to and punches Perez. Perez sneaks out from under her and kicks her on the ropes. Valkyria and Rodriguez argue outside the ring. Then while Perez stands on Bayley's knee using the ropes, and then we cut commercial break. Back to the match. Perez tries to submit Bayley, and Bayley hammers out the hold. Perez kicks Bayley's leg and then hits a running elbow to Bayley's back. Perez goes for her jumping moonsault, but Bayley kicks her knees up. Perez is sent to the out apron and then guillotine and leg dropped on the bottom rope. Bayley kicks Perez and slams her down to the mat. Bayley comes off the middle rope and hits an elbow on Perez and covers for a near fall. Bayley climbs the ropes again. This time Bayley knocks her on the apron and climbs up with her. Perez hits a top rope hurricane, then hits a cartwheel knee stomp and covers Bayley for a near fall. Perez slaps Bayley and then kicks her. Perez misses pop rocks and rolls up Bayley for two. Bayley punches Perez and Perez runs up the ropes with Bayley and slams her down. Bayley rolls out of the ring and Perez goes for a suicide dive, but Bayley makes her eat a solid punch. Perez then hits a pop rocks on Bayley outside the ring and rolls back in the ring. Bayley barely makes it in the ring for the 10 count. Perez distracts the ref and Rodriguez attacks Bayley. Valkyria attacks Rodriguez and Perez splashes out onto Valkyria. Bayley loses her mind in the ring. Seeing Valkyria get beaten up, Bayley pulls Perez into the ring with her hair and then hits Bayley the belly and then knees Perez. Bayley then hits a Rose Plant and gets the win. So winner is Bayley. After the match, Valkyria celebrates with Bayley, and Bayley isn't having any of it. She pushes Valkyria to the mat and gets upset that Valkyria thinks she can touch her and tells Valkyria to stay out of her way. Oh, grand. Yeah, getting crazy. All right, then Jimmy Uso approaches Cody Rhodes, tells he was doing about versus Palooza and all that stuff. Then after that, right away, Cody Rhodes talks to Jay Uso in the locker room. Rose asks if he's good and stuff. He says, yeah, he is and stuff. So with the low blows and wins, Rose says he believes in him and Jen will find a way to the top again. All right. So, anyways, third match coming up: Jenny McDonough and with Dominic Mysterio versus Rusev. Rusev trash talks Mysterio at the bell. Chops to Rusev. Rusev suplexes McDonough twice and kicks McDonough. Rusev hits an elbow and then chokes McDonough on the ropes. They fall. McDonough chops Rusev back and runs out of the ring as Rusev chases him. McDonough is thrown in the air, back in the ring. Rusev tosses McDonough back outside the ring and then stares at Mysterio. Mysterio checks on McDonough and Rusev goes to McDonough and slams him into the barricades. McDonough slams the steel steps onto Rusev and kicks him on the apron. McDonough sends Rusev into the ring post and then hits a springboard moonsault to the outside on Rusev. And then we cut commercial break. Alright, we're back to the match. Rusev gets McDonough on the top turnbuckle, and Rusev punches McDonough on the top rope. McDonough slides between Rusev's legs and pulls him off the ropes. McDonough hits a jawbreaker on Rusev and knocks down Rusev. McDonough kicks down Rusev and hits a flying knee and covers Rusev, who kicks out immediately. McDonough DDTs Rusev and then headbutts Rusev. McDonough hits a moonsault and covers Rusev for a near fall. McDonough punches Rusev and hits a running clotheslines trying to take down Rusev. Rusev grabs McDonough and slams him down onto the mat. Rusev hits a Mashka kick on McDonough, then slaps McDonough in the accolade. McDonough yells for Mysterio that goes to help Rusev, but stops and McDonough submits. Winner by submission, Rusev. Rusev doesn't let go, and Mysterio doesn't help. Finn Balor runs down and attacks Rusev, breaking the hold. Balor and Mysterio help McDonough to the back as Balor yells at Mysterio. All right. And then we see Oscar warming up, warms up backstage and stuff. Then talks about Io Sky and all that. And yeah, so anyway, Jackie Raymond talks to, after that. Jackie Raymond talks to LA Knight, talk about what happened at WrestlePalooza, and then he's mad and stuff at Jey Uso and doesn't want to get hurt. So yeah. Anyways, fourth match coming up: Jey Uso versus LA Knight. All right. I thought this was going to be in a main event right here, but it wasn't. So, anyways, Uso punches Knight right off the bell. Uso strikes Knight in the corner. Knight regroups and punches Uso. Uso takes down Knight with a flying forearm. Uso mounts Knight and punches him, then kicks Knight. Knight hits a net breaker out of nowhere and fans Uso. Knight goes for BOT, but Uso counters and Knight sends Uso out of the ring. Knight goes for a baseball slide and misses, allowing Uso to clothesline Knight clothesline Knight outside the ring, and then we cut commercial break. Alright, we're back from commercial break. Knight boots Uso in the corner. Uso kicks down Knight right after that and then slams him in the corner. Uso covers Knight, who kicks out at two. Uso gets on the top turnbuckle and Knight punches him and then climbs up with him. Knight gets knocked down and he runs back up and hits a superplex on Uso. Knight and Uso trade punches in the middle of the ring. Knight goes for BFT and Uso counters. Uso goes for a super kick. Knight counters and Knight hits a burning hammer on Uso and covers him for a near fall. Uso then rolls up Knight for a 2 count. Knight goes for a jumping net breaker, but Uso counters it and Knight rolls out the ring. Uso hits a suicide dive on the Knight, then gets Knight back in the ring and super kicks him. Uso covers Knight again and Knight kicks out. Uso tries to spear Knight, but Knight kicks Uso and DTs Uso. Knight hits a top rope elbow on Uso, and out of nowhere, Braun Breaker and Bronson Reed run out. Knight attacks Reed, a breaker, and then gets back in the ring, and Uso spears him and hits the Uso splash and then gets the win. So winner is Jey Uso. Uso walks away and heads to the back. Jimmy Uso comes out and tells Jey to help him with Knight because Reed and Breaker will destroy him. Jey leaves and Jimmy runs to the ring with a chair. Paul Heyman makes a vision retreat as Uso stands in the ring with Knight writhing in pain on the mat. I thought he was gonna hit him with a chair. So yeah. Then after that, we see Seth Rollins backstage with Becky Lynch talking trash about Cody Rhodes stuff, about disrespectful and all that stuff. Then Lynch leaves and all that stuff. Then Ripley, after that, Ripley stretches backstage. Then CEO Sky and stuff to call it match and stuff. And then Ripley said no, respect enough. And then she says, they're still having the match. So yeah, then we see Maxine Dupree talk to Ann Pierce backstage. Then after that, we see AJ Styles talk about their very pissed off seeing the Americanos and stuff. Then says for a tag match, two of them. Then Pierce says he agrees. All right. Then main event coming up finally, Asuka with Kairi Sane versus Rhea Ripley. All right, we get the bell. Asuka goes. This was a good match too. We get the bell. Asuka goes to super kick to kick Ripley, and Ripley ducks Asuka. Something scared shit out me out backstage. Asuka kicks Ripley and runs into the corner. Asuka rolls up Ripley for a near fall, and Ripley fires back and throws Asuka across the ring. Ripley is knocked off the apron, and then we cut commercial break. Back to our main event, Asuka has Ripley in a submission hold and then slams down Ripley. Asuka kicks Ripley in the corner and then sends Ripley onto the apron and kicks her. Asuka hits a dragon screw through the ropes on Ripley, and this sends Ripley back into the ring. Ripley tries to slap Asuka, but Asuka slaps Ripley. Ripley then slaps Asuka and clotheslines her down. Asuka slammed down and drop kick. Ripley hits the bridge suplex, and Asuka kicks out the ring hold. Asuka counters at a Razor's Edge and kicks Ripley down and covers her for a 2 count. Asuka assaults Ripley on the mat, and Ripley tries to kick down Asuka. Asuka keeps kicking Ripley's leg, and Ripley is able to kick Asuka out of the ring. Ripley hits a somersault / cannonball onto Asuka outside the ring. Then we cut commercial break. Alright, then we back to commercial break. I guess this girl is staying down. Alright, back to commercial break. Ripley stomps on Asuka in the middle of the ring and then slaps leg scissors on Asuka. Asuka tries to reverse into a pin, then counters it into an ankle lock. Ripley punches out the hold, and Ripley smacks Asuka in the corner. Asuka plays on the top rope, and Ripley climbs up with her gun, goes for a superplex. Ripley slams down Asuka from the top rope, and both women are laid out in the ring. Asuka and Ripley punch each other in the middle of the ring. Asuka rolls up Ripley, who kicks out. Asuka is hit with a spinning elbow, then super kick. Ripley connects with the Razor's Edge, and then hits a Shining Wizard. Asuka and covers her for a near fall. Ripley goes for Riptide. Asuka counters and puts Ripley in the armbar. Ripley powers out of the armbar and runs at Asuka and collides with the ring post. Asuka kicks Ripley and covers for a 2 count. Asuka kicks Ripley and Ripley catches a kick and knocks Asuka. Asuka starts striking Ripley, and Ripley is knocked out of the ring. Asuka tries to distract the ref to allow Zayn to attack Ripley, but Zayn doesn't. Asuka comes out of the ring and yells at Zayn and slams Ripley's head into the announce desk. Asuka yells some more at Zayn and then gets back in the ring. Ripley strikes Asuka, and Asuka throws Ripley into another ankle lock. Asuka slams down Ripley and climbs the ropes. Asuka jumps off the top rope, and Ripley drop kicks her in the air. Asuka tells Zayn to get involved and punch Ripley. Zayn goes to punch Ripley, but Ripley catches her. Asuka goes to hit Ripley and with Empress Impact, but Asuka hits Zayn instead. Ripley pins Asuka off the distraction and gets the win. So winner is Rhea Ripley. Alright, after the match, Asuka misses Ripley and then forces Zayn to help her beat on Ripley. Io Sky runs out and pleads for Asuka to not hurt Ripley. Asuka and Sky hug in the ring, and Zayn is relieved. Asuka then hits Sky with a spinning strike, knocking her down. Asuka orders Zayn to attack Sky, and she reluctantly agrees. Asuka strikes Sky again and knocks down Ripley again. Asuka tells Zayn to hit the Insane on the Sky. Insane stands on the top rope and thinks about it for a while. Then comes down onto Sky. Sky and Ripley lay in the ring, and that's how the show ends and stuff. So yeah, this was a good show tonight. I enjoyed it. And so they're the first match, and then the main event was really good and stuff. So yeah, I think those are the only two that were good earlier tonight and stuff. So yeah, but anyways, guys, I'm sorry I didn't get to make a video for AEW All Out and WrestlePalooza, because my goodness, guys, I was so fucking tired. why? I mean, to tell you the truth, I had to watch half, like, cause when I was about to turn it off, I saw Jack Perry came back and stuff, and that's when I turned it off because WrestlePalooza was almost on around 6 o'clock and stuff. But I said when I turned WrestlePalooza on, it was they were doing the America the Beautiful and stuff. Yeah, so yeah, so I had to fast forward to where it left off and stuff, and I was like, so yeah, I had to watch like kind of like half of the like, but it was like because man, that ladder match was kind of long and stuff, so I was like, hurry up, like so I could watch WrestlePalooza and stuff. So yeah, but I was like, and so I had to turn up right when Jack Perry came back and stuff. Then yeah, so anyway, I watched the whole entire WrestlePalooza, and then I went back to AEW All Out afterwards, so I had to fast forward. So it took a good couple minutes for me to fast forward on the AEW All Out and stuff. So yeah, but anyways, guys, I was so tired I could not make a two videos on or one video of those two shows and stuff. So yeah, I was very tired. There was no way I couldn't take a nap and stuff. So I was like super tired and stuff. I mean, I had to watch different shows after that, but I was super tired and stuff. But yeah, I was. I mean, I drank two Cokes that night. Well, I drank Dr Pepper and then I drank the Coke during WrestlePalooza and stuff. So yeah, that's how I was kind of wired a little bit, but I was super tired at the same time and stuff. So yeah. Anyways, that was this first video. Hope you like it, not whatever stuff. So like, subscribe, hit the button, leave a comment, and guys, leave a comment out to carry guys, and that was it. And I'll see you guys Wednesday night for AEW Dynamite. All right, later's.